The year was 1929. Imagine a Nigeria bound by the chains of British rule. The air was thick with discontent. For years, the women of Nigeria, mothers, farmers, traders, had endured the oppressive policies of their colonial rulers. They had watched as their traditional systems of governance were dismantled. They saw their men increasingly marginalized, and they felt the sting of injustice as new laws and taxes threatened their livelihoods. The British believed they could control this land and its people. They underestimated the strength of the women. The women of Nigeria were not passive observers in their own lives. They were the backbone of the economy, the nurturers of their families and the custodians of their traditions. They held immense power within their communities. The British, blinded by their own arrogance, failed to see this power. They saw the women as weak and subservient. This grave miscalculation would soon ignite a firestorm of resistance. The stage was set for rebellion. The women of Nigeria, their patience worn thin, were ready to fight for their rights, their families, and their future. They would show the British Empire the true meaning of strength and resilience. They would make their voices heard, not through violence and bloodshed, but through the power of unity, courage, and their unwavering spirit. A life under British rule was a heavy burden for the women of Nigeria. The colonial administrators, convinced of their own superiority, imposed their will upon every aspect of Nigerian life. This disregard for local customs and traditions was deeply felt by the women. They saw their authority diminished and their voices silenced. The very fabric of their society was being torn apart. One of the most egregious policies imposed by the British was the introduction of direct taxation. For the first time, women were required to pay taxes on their earnings and their property. This was a direct attack on their economic independence, as women were the primary traders in the marketplaces. They had always managed their finances, supporting their families and contributing to their communities. Now, the British were demanding a share of their hard-earned income. The injustice of this new tax system was not lost on the women. They saw it for what it was, a blatant attempt to exploit them and solidify British control over their lives. The taxes were not merely a financial burden, they were a symbol of oppression, a constant reminder of the colonial shackles that bound them. The resentment grew with each passing day, fueling the flames of resistance that would soon erupt. Gap 3S. The resentment simmered beneath the surface, but it was a single event that ignited the spark of resistance. In November 1929, British colonial officials attempted to conduct a census in the southeastern town of Oloko, a prelude to extending the hated taxation system. The women of Oloko, led by Nwanyaruwa, saw this as the final straw. They gathered in numbers, their voices raised in unison, chanting songs of defiance. The news of their protest spread like wildfire, reaching neighboring towns and villages. Women from all walks of life, united by a common cause, began to organize. They formed a network of solidarity, communicating through secret messages and clandestine meetings. The marketplace, once a place of commerce, became a hub of revolutionary activity. Women who had once been competitors now stood shoulder to shoulder, plotting their next move. The spirit of rebellion was contagious. It wasn't just about the taxes anymore, it was about reclaiming their dignity, their autonomy, and their place in society. The women of Nigeria were ready to rise, and nothing could stand in their way. The stage was set for a movement that would shake the very foundations of colonial rule. Thank you for watching History Untold. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the history they don't teach you in textbooks, please like and subscribe to our channel. Click the subscribe button and join us on this journey through untold stories of the past.